actor. He's a phenomenal actor, but he was definitely in a very rough patch for, I mean, I think that the general audiences don't understand that Robert Downey Jr. was a huge downfall for almost 20 years.
Yeah, big in the 80s.
He was huge in the
90s were rough, and then he's made his comeback with what? Kiss Kiss Kim Bang Bang, Singing Detective.
I don't know if you would say he made a comeback.
Because that Kiss Kiss Bang Bang's what got him Iron Man.
Well, he also didn't he do Iron Man for free?
Yeah, I think he got next to nothing.
I think he did it for free, or he got basic SAG wages, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
Maybe back end?
Probably. But, that was a huge gamble for them to do that, too, because originally it was supposed to be Timothy Olyphant who was going to be Iron Man. Because remember, he was hot right off of Justified.
He was so hot right now.
He was.
I love Justified.
That was a great show.
Oh, no, he was hot off Deadwood.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Justified
you're right.
probably ended, 2015, maybe? 2014?
That sounds
was about
right.
4 or 5 seasons.
It sounds about right, yeah.
He's just so hot right now. The Oliphant.
He was booming. He did that amazing movie in the 90s called Go, which
so good.
I love that movie so much.
99.
Was it 99?
Yeah.
I thought it was 98. It doesn't matter. But
you want to argue about this? Earlier, before we started this podcast, we were talking about how much a movie grossed. I'm not going to say which movie. I had the correct amount, and Chris Kelly was like, "No, it made $1 million less." So let's say a movie made $256 million. He's like, "No, it made $255." Chris Kelly. Son of a bitch.
I got my information from IMDb, so stop.
I paid for that IMDb Pro because Box Office Mojo isn't my resource. So Box Office Mojo was the greatest resource for my research when I worked on all my when I still do all my videos and data posts. Mm-hmm. Now you can only use it with IMDb Pro, and they don't account for inflation while you pay for it. $12.99 a month, and they don't even give you inflated numbers that a free website gave you.
That sucks.
Box Office Mojo, you let me down.
Do you get free movies with the IMDb?
No. Well, the IMDb has free movies, but you can do that without the account.
Yeah, but they got to be like commercial free though, right?
I mean, but it's not worth $12.99 for watching Legends of the Fall.
No, well, I mean, I would definitely watch.
I did have to watch Legends of the Fall though to see how much Brad Pitt ate.
That's a good movie.
Yeah,
that's a good movie too.
A lot of people fell.
I love that. It was legendary.
He did he did the best. Okay, if I had to do a draft, best morose boating person on a boat, or best
Castaway wins hand down.
No, but remember that scene where he's on the boat looking depressed?
I mean, isn't that pretty much the whole movie?
Yeah, but he just pulls off depressed boat going so well.
It'd be hard to be depressed on a boat unless it was funny games.
Oh gosh, I will never be that good looking while being depressed, and that makes me sad.
But no, I'll never be John Legend type of handsome.
Yeah. He's the world's sexiest man.
I know. I was like, that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'm like, yeah, he is. He's up there. He's one of those guys.
Chris Kelly for 2020. He's like, it's you doing double gun fingers.
He's like one of those guys that's perfect at everything. You're just like, damn it. Like,
Stop it, John Legend.
Yeah. It's like Neil Patrick.
Even your last name.
Neil Patrick Harris. It's just like, he's perfect at everything he does. And you're just like, damn it. Why can't I be like that?
Legendary.
See?
John Legend.
Neil
and Tom
Patrick
Cruise
Harris.
was in Legend, and he was one of the sexiest men alive.
Was he?
Brad Pitt was in Legends of the Fall. He's one of the sexiest men alive.
He had like a 5-year reign.
What other Legend movies are there? Legend of Zelda. Zelda was the sexiest man alive in the 80s.
Yeah, we all remember that craze.
Yep. I mean, Legend of
Boggy Creek.
Yes.
Which features an extremely large Sasquatch.
Michael Biehn. He wasn't in that. Lance Hendrickson has been killed by head yetis in 3 movies, by the way.
Sasquatch Mountain.
Yeah, and then Sasquatch. And then Look Out for Yeti!
That movie, Look Out for Yeti.
Now, what do you think about Chubby Rain, this script? I mean, it's obviously a joke.
I love the premise of it. It's an abnormally large rain that came down, and it's aliens that are hiding in raindrops. And I love whenever they're showing the premiere of the movie at the
Chubby
end.
Rain.
It's like the voiceovers by Steve Martin.
Yeah.
It says, "It rained earlier today, but it wasn't normal rain. It seemed thicker than usual." Gotcha, suckers!
And I love when he goes to Robert Downey Jr.'s character. And so he brings back his acting troupe, right? He's like, hey, we're going to make a movie. So he has Cole, the kind of struggling, like 20-something-year-old actor. Then you have Afrin, the accountant/writer. And then you have Christine Baranski, who's amazing in this movie as Carol, who wants to go to Edmonton for a small role in Cats, a stage production out there. So he's like, hey, guys, stay here. If I don't have this Chubby Rain made into a movie, you guys can leave. So he goes and sees Robert Downey Jr., and I love what Robert Downey Jr. does. first page, reads it, this is good. All this crap, reads the last line, gotcha suckers. He's like, I like this.
Yeah, I love that when Frank Oz said that too. He said that it's
he
like
just did that.
Nothing, nothing matters other than the first page and the last page, and it's like that's all that matters. Like, gotcha, suckers. Well, I'll tell you what. If you get Kit Ramsey to sign on this, I will produce it.
I love the fake cell phone that he's holding with the cable that he ripped out of the car. And it pops out of his jacket. Oh, I love when he switches the coat. He steals a coat. And then there's other scenes where, the deleted scenes where he prints fake money so he can make it seem like there's a huge wad.
I think that'd be funny, but at the same time, I agree with Frank Oz. Yeah, we get it.
The flow works. I heard there was a lot more in this movie that was cut.
I'm sure, yeah.
But you don't need any of it.
I think it runs perfectly the way it is. I think that if they showed him printing fake money, that would have been a little bit of an overkill. But
I do think so once they get the movie made, they don't get the movie made, they're going to film it with Eddie Murphy not knowing that they're filming him, which is amazing.
That's brilliant. And it's like, you could theoretically make a movie like that without somebody actually knowing that they're part of this movie. Because, I mean, they don't really address it, but I read online that Frank Oz and Steve Martin both wanted to make it seem like Kit Ramsey had slight schizophrenia.
Yeah.
So they could play off of that, which is the reason why his character is always like kind of jumpy. And he's like, running around because they're scaring him, but he's also a brilliant actor. Well, he's an action actor, but he's a brilliant actor. So that if they scare him, they could get the exact response what they needed, which is genius move. And I was like, So they put in little drops throughout the whole movie.
As I stand here before you today, the Laker girls cheerleading squad needs to be taken down a peg or two. Hey, Laker girls. And then they laugh at him. It's not funny.
Yeah.
But all right, so one of my favorite parts of this movie is they're like, we're going to need the best film crew that money can buy because he only has 3,000. So they go to the border and they grab 4 Mexicans that are running through, Martinez, Hector, Luis, some of their names. They put them in the back of the van. They basically kidnap them. And then they become part of the crew. Yeah. But I love their progression.
I love how Frank Oz deliberately did that. Was he made them, they look terrified at first, and then they start getting more into filmmaking, and then by the end of it, they're almost like full-blown producers.
And I love the commentary, how he's like, I know we got a lot of problem with this. A lot of people are angry, but their progression. Like, we're showing how, like, every time he sees him, he's like, look here. We didn't do this because we're racist. We did this because it's funny.
It is really funny. It's kind of, I thought it was brilliant.
And I love how in the beginning it's Jamie Kennedy looking at all the playback, the dailies. And at the end, it's the crew, like Hector and all them, we put a ring light around him to show more of the iris. And there's a scene where they're talking about Dr. Strangelove and Clockwork Orange and Apocalypse Now. And I love when they're working on Christine Baranski's wig later on. They become part of the family. They're at lunch with them later, hanging out.
Yeah.
Like, that made me really happy. It's funny. That's why I like this movie, though. You have Heather Graham's character, who they
supposedly is based on
Anne Heche.
Anne Heche, which if you... I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty.
Allegedly.
But she supposedly would do anything just to get a role. And that sort of explains why she was the way she was. And then out of nowhere, she's like a full-blown lesbian, which if she is or not,
allegedly.
That's not for me to discuss. But she then becomes a lesbian, but then she then goes away from that. In reality, she did do that. So Steve Martin was apparently really burnt by this because he dated Anne Heche back in the day. And then that's why he wrote this in the script.
And he's never admitted to it, but
it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. And so you have that allegedly obvious.
Yeah, allegedly obvious.
So you have, but that's why I like this. So you have the Mind Hat, you have the Heather Graham, you have, I'm going to get the finest crew that money can buy. He's a selfish character. He's like, we, as in me. And then when Jamie Kennedy with the gear, he's like, oh, I'm going to be arrested. Yes, you are going to be arrested, not me. So he's a very, selfish kind of guy.
Well, he's, as we both know from working in the business, there's a ton of people just like this.
Producers are some producers.
Some producers are definitely very
Some are great. I don't know how producers stay conscious. The ones that, the line producers.
I don't know how they do it half the time.
Spreadsheets.
I wouldn't be able to. It seems like so much. I don't know. It seems it's a little too much for me. I would be drinking coffee and being on Dayquil 24/7.
Just your life is what? Strip boards, props, budget. There's so much that goes into producing in this movie. But so I teach a producing class, and I think I told my students how much goes into producing, and I gave them some assignments. They're like, I'm never producing in my life. I think I maybe did my job because I scared them away from producing.
They all turn into GIF.
So
it's like, I don't want to do this.
We did 8-Legged Freaks. I had them read from the 8-Legged. I gave them a few pages of 8-Legged Freaks. I was like, pretend to be a producer and break this down. So I showed them, they read like 5 pages of it, broke it down. Then I showed them the movie. So you have all these things in the movie. 4 trucks go by, but in the movie it's one van. And it's like, I did the entire progression of here's all this stuff, but here's what they broke down. So it's the same story, but in the script they made it much cheaper in the actual movie. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense. Because it's like a good exercise.
They didn't wreck the artistic merit of 8-Legged Freaks. They just chewed the fat. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good little exercise to get people to.
Can I tell you a story real quick?
Sure.
All right. Upgrade. Have I told you this story? Have you seen the movie Upgrade, directed by Lee Wannell?
No, I want to though.
All right, so this is Wrecking Nothing, but he was on this podcast, Empire Podcast, and anything that you can listen to with Lee Wannell, you should, because he's hilarious. But on this thing, in Upgrade, there was supposedly a fight between the main character and 2 men in a room, and the producers got a hold of it, and they're like, "No, we can't do this." He's like, "Okay, well, we'll have a fight in a room with one guy," and they're like, "No." He's like, "Okay, well, he'll walk into a room with 2 guys." And they'll have a verbal argument, and they'll be afraid and they'll run away. No. He'll walk into a room with one guy and have a verbal argument? No. He walks into a room? No. He walks by a room with 2 guys? No. He walks by a room with 1 guy? No. He just goes to the other place with no rooms and no guys? Yes. Like that's the story he told. It's, man, I love that guy. But that's producing, right?
That is producing. I mean, you give out so many ideas and they just usually say no. Like, so that's why so many directors become producers, so they can do what they wanted.
Then you notice a lot of actors and everything kind of going that way. And I was just,
Brad Pitt, I think, gave up acting altogether. What the last movie he did was like Ad Astra?
So good. And
I didn't see that yet.
He won an Oscar for 12 Years a Slave, Moonlight. He's produced some major movies, which I think is really cool.
He does really good movies. He knows what he's doing. And I mean, if you look at the actual scheme of what, to bring it to say Brad Pitt again, he does a very cheaply good movie.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he knows how to make a good movie. So he's like, we're going to tell this story, but we're going to tell this from from Algeria. And it's like, It's like that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, he's a good actor too, man. I don't care what people say. I
loved him.
Him and Burn After Reading.
Oh yeah, I did. That was one of my first movie reviews I ever wrote.
Really?
It was back
he's
when
hilarious.
I used to be a journalist. Good old over a decade ago. That was one of the first movies I reviewed.
How about Clooney with that weird sex chair? You think he's building like a torture device, and then he builds that? It's a weird movie, isn't it?
It is weird. I mean, when I wrote it, I wrote out my review of Burn After Reading. I interpreted the movie as the 7 Deadly Sins, where it was you had sloth, wrath, pride, greed, gluttony. I can't remember the rest of them. I'd have to look at it. Ninja Kicks, Kramer versus Kramer.
He was good in that one too.
Yeah, it is a fantastic movie. I love how he's so dopey but lovable, and was it George Clooney opens up the closet door, and then Brad Pitt's like, "Hey, bam!" blows him, shoots his head, and he's like, "Oh my God, people are coming into my house!" Ah!
Oh man, that's a great cast too. Tilda Swinton,
very well. John Malkovich is
McDormand.
I mean, arguably probably one of the best performances in that movie.
When he starts yelling at Brad Pitt in the car, he's like, "You shit!"
Oh, that movie is so good.
All right, so how about this? Let's regroup. We'll get our Bowfinger notes in order. When we come back, we'll talk more. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And so what do you think about... I love the characters in this movie. Heather Graham's character, her accent. Kit! What is the...
I love her progression too, that she starts off as being the small town girl from Ohio, and then all of a sudden now she's almost like a celebrity at this
Who's
point.
Much smarter than she lets on.
She's very smart. She knows exactly what she's doing. I love that.
Yeah, and I love the scene where they're kind of playing each other. Remember Frank Oz? When the scene where her and Steve Martin are having dinner, and he waters down the Chianti, and they're having TV dinners. I will never betray your trust. And then he steals her credit card. And the whole time, everything she's saying to him is a lie, too.
Of course, yeah.
And then halfway through, she's like, "Oh, are you going to add my scenes?"
Yeah.
And there is one weird conversation. Her and Cole are walking, because remember, Cole Remember when she walks in and she's like, they're charging $25 to audition?
Yeah, that's brilliant. I
And
thought that was so funny.
She has a check. She's like, but I have ID. He was like, there.